I don't know if you saw last night, Donald Trump held an indoor rally Sunday night, made a mockery of social distancing, while the pandemic he mismanaged has now claimed more than 194,000 American lives. Imagine if 50 lives, people got killed by immigrants crossing the border, what an uproar we would have. But 194,000 people killed by a coronavirus that Donald Trump fails to mitigate, puts all of these people into a crowd against the laws and regulations of Nevada. Nevada says you can't have more than 50 people in a room. Trump didn't care. Now, the event in Nevada, his second rally in the state as many days, has the potential now to turn into another super spreader, just like his Oklahoma rally and just like the motorcycle rally up in South Dakota. Now, at his last rally in Oklahoma, that gentleman right there, Herman Cain, he ran for president one time. He's now dead as a result of getting coronavirus. There's no definitive explanation of where he got it, but we know he did come down with coronavirus approximately 2 weeks after attending the Oklahoma rally. CNN's Brian Stelter, he reported that every major television network, including CNN, decided not to send their crews and correspondents in because nobody wanted to get sick. Meanwhile, Donald Trump continues to say that coronavirus isn't that big of a deal. But, you know, we've talked about it before, Yo-Yo and Vanessa. You can't fool Mother Nature. Would you ever go to that rally?
Hell no.
Would you go to a Biden rally indoors?
Oh, no.
No.
I can support my way. My way of supporting is using my platform, talking to people, talking to the youth, donating if I can. That's my way of supporting, you know, telling people to vote. I actually had a discussion with some friends that came over last night. We were watching the Gladys Knight and Patti LaBelle versus. It was amazing. But, you know, after we had a conversation and, you know, one of them was like, oh, I don't like Biden, but I don't like Trump either, so I'm not going to vote. And I'm like, you not voting is voting for Trump. You know, so like that's my way of just talking to people and schooling them.
By the way, I like everything you said, but the most important thing you said, I'm not going to vote is a vote for Trump.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Especially, that's what.
And I'm stepping out of this election is I'm voting for Trump.
Yeah.
Basically.
All right. So to me, Biden maybe doesn't represent everything I represent, and it may not represent everything that you represent.
What president does?
Nobody
does. There's no perfect president.
Nobody does. But I can tell you, at a bare minimum, we will have a rational human being in the White House versus an irrational sociopath who is, to many, a racist and basically, you know, nothing more than a nationalist. You know, Trump would love no more than to be a dictator. Meanwhile, disturbing revelations by Bob Woodward about Donald Trump's negligence amid the coronavirus pandemic that has killed more than 194,000 people was compounded by new suggestions of fact twisting by one of Trump's top officials. A federal health official told CNN on Saturday that Donald Trump's communications team at the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services pushed to change language of weekly science reports released by the Centers for Disease Control. Why? Because they didn't want the CDC to contradict anything that Donald Trump was saying. They wanted the CDC to paint a rosy picture so people will go out and go to work and spend money and not worry about whether or not they contract coronavirus and die. Now, the source said some federal health officials at the CDC believe the interference was an effort to not contradict Trump, who argues that the pandemic is over and it's time to reopen the country. A gentleman by the name of Michael Caputo, he is the head of Health and Human Services. He's the spokesman for Health and Human Services. He is their spokesperson for this huge cabinet position. He has defended the behavior and praised Dr. Paul Alexander, who has repeatedly been adding potential content to the Centers for Disease Control reports tracking the emergency. On Sunday, this guy, Caputo, accused government scientists of sedition in their handling of the pandemic and warned that left-wing hit squads were preparing for armed insurrection after the election. Everybody who is on Trump's team, in one way or the other, is fanning the flames of hatred and civil war. And the reality is, you know, people, Yo-Yo and Vanessa, when you hear all of this, you know, there's going to be an armed insurrection. They're coming after you. You know, these mobs, this, that. You know, he's playing into the, you know, people, how do I phrase this? People get upset if they don't have a job. People get upset if they don't have money. But if you humiliate somebody, okay, and somebody feels humiliated, then they will kill for their leaders. And I think what Donald Trump is doing in terms of rallying his base is he's playing to a humiliation of these people. You know, the liberals, they don't want you to wear masks. They think you're stupid. You know, immigrants are coming to take your jobs. They're coming to kill you. Black Lives Matter, they're anarchists. They want to take over the country. And he's playing into a feeling of humiliation in people who live in the Midwest, are not on the East Coast, West Coast, Miami, who feel kind of left out and humiliated by liberals who they feel are talking down to them. And Trump is getting right into that. And that's kind of how I feel when I see all this stuff.
Agreed.
And he's playing into their fears. He's playing into their fears and their level of humiliation. Instead of, you know, I would love Biden to say, you know, go into Trump country somewhere, because this is the only way to heal the country. You know, is go into Trump country, listen to what people have to say. Say, you know what? I hear you. I feel your pain. I don't agree with you, but I hear you. And we got to figure out how to make everybody better. Because right now it's Trump, you know, getting people all fired up, playing into their humiliation, playing into their fear. And this is why we have a problem. We need somebody in politics to go to the other side and say, I hear your gripes. I don't agree with you. I absolutely don't agree with you. I don't think people should have guns. I don't think immigrants are taking away your jobs. But I'm listening to you. I hear your concerns. You know, a lot of times, you know, getting people to stop being angry is just listening. And nobody's listening anymore. Everybody's just screaming at each other.
I agree.
Did you see the U.S. Open at all? You watched the U.S. Open at all?
Yeah, I watched part of it. I watched because I used to play tennis in high school.
Yeah.
So, yeah, my mom made me.
You look good in a white shirt. I can see you being a tennis player. You look good in the white shirt.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually was naturally good at it.
Right.
My mom like, you have to play, and I'm like, ugh. And it was the same time as season as track, so I had to do track and tennis at the same time.
Yeah. I had the same.
She kept you busy.
Yeah, I had the same problem.
Yeah.
You know, my mother made me play basketball all the time, but I'm only 5'8", and I just
Really?
couldn't do it anymore. People are so taller than me. Meanwhile, 22-year-old tennis star Naomi Osaka, she won the 2020 U.S. Open on Saturday and used the tournament as a way to bring attention to some recent police killing victims and the issue of racist violence. In each of her 7 matches, she wore a face covering displaying the name of a different black victim, from Breonna Taylor in her first match to Tamir Rice in the final. She said, I feel like the point is to make people start talking. She added, I'm aware that tennis is watched all over the world, and maybe there is someone that doesn't know who Breonna Taylor is. Maybe they'll Google it or something. For me, it's just spreading awareness. So congratulations to Naomi Osaka, not only for winning the women's title, but for bringing social justice to the United States Tennis Open.
Yeah.
I absolutely
Start a conversation, building awareness.
Yeah.
Love that. Love that.
Not only that, I heard that I don't know if I'm right all the way, but I heard that she actually forfeited one of the games in honor of that as well, just like when the basketball players were also doing so. So, and with doing that, she still won.
Wow.
That's a beast.
I didn't know that part. I didn't know that part.
Yeah.
Because she couldn't forfeit her match because then she would be out of the tournament.
Right.
So
But she did one of the games. I think it was with the lady that she beat, but I'm not sure if it is.
Obviously with the lady
I know
she beat,
she did. Yeah, I know she did one game. She forfeited one game just in honor of Black Lives Matter.
Well, meanwhile, you're going to be happy to know that TikTok will be around for a while. They ended up making a partnership with Oracle. Oracle is one of the largest computer companies in the United States. It's owned by a gentleman by the name of Larry Ellison, who is one of, surprisingly, Donald Trump's biggest contributors. So Donald Trump bullied TikTok into partnering with a huge contributor of Donald Trump, because Donald Trump said that China's going to know all of our secrets. They're going to be able to look into our telephone and be able to see what we see in our phone and be able to track where you are. So now, instead of China being able to do it, Oracle can do it.
Of course.
Big deal. Okay?
Big deal.
Because because TikTok is still owned by the Chinese, by a Chinese company. All this entire deal does is the data from TikTok that is given off in the United States is held in the clouds by Oracle, not TikTok. Big whoop.
Like I said, he does not care about our well-being.
So big whoop.
He don't care about
our. What was the big deal? With all of this TikTok thing.
All the fuss.
Yeah.
Listen, that's what bullies do. They feed off of that type of energy. They just feed off of winning. He won.
What do you win? I guess his
bragging rights.
His heavy contributor just
is now
partners with TikTok.
Exactly.
He won. He gets away with this. That's why.
Meanwhile, thousands of firefighters are continuing to battle California wildfires that have killed more than 24 people in less than a month. 16,700 firefighters were battling 29 major wildfires across the state. Governor Gavin Newsom and Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti have attributed the intensity of the season's fires to climate change, pushing back on Trump's assertion that the fires were due to poor land management. Now, the issue with all of this, whole land management thing, is that 57% of the land that there are fires going on right now is owned by the federal government. So a majority of the land where there is a fire right now on the West Coast is managed and owned by the federal government. And here's Donald Trump saying it's the California governors and the California mayors and the Oregon governors and the Oregon mayors to blame because they mismanaged a forest fire. But the majority is federally owned. The governor can't do anything on federal property. A governor can't clean up the brush on federal property. Governor Newsom said to Donald Trump, we can agree to disagree on the politics of what caused this fire, because Donald Trump says it wasn't caused by climate change. It's just caused by forest mismanagement. Almost every scientist believes it was caused partly is all due to climate change. But Governor Newsom said we could agree to disagree on the politics, but one thing is fundamental: 50% of the land in the state is federally owned and 3% is state forests. Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden said the West is literally on fire, and he blames the people whose homes and communities are burning. It's Donald Trump he's referring to. Donald Trump's climate denial may not have caused these fires and record floods and record hurricanes, but if he gets a second term, these hellish events will continue to become more common, more devastating, and more deadly. And as I said on Friday, Yo-Yo and Vanessa, you heard it here, maybe not first, but I'm going to say it very loud and clear. What's going on in California and Oregon is coming to a theater near you. Mm-hmm. And, in 20 years from now, maybe I'll be old and retired somewhere. But your children, Yo-Yo and Vanessa, your children are going to inherit this earth. And unless we do something, what you see there is what they're going to inherit, because it's going to be everywhere. Everywhere. And I hate to say it, but it is a fact. You heard it here. All right, unless we do something about it. All right, let's do something fun.
Yes,
Fuzzy.
Fuzzy Monday. So I know, Yo-Yo and Nesquik, you like to do the coolest things and be at the coolest places. So there's a new, cool, hip restaurant that just opened. Take this one down. All right, you may want to show up. The hottest new restaurant in America. It features handmade furniture, a 4-course meal, a fancy French name, a packed house full of squirrels and blue jays. Welcome to Maison du Noix, called the Nut House in French, a tiny restaurant located in the front yard of James Vreeland's Detroit home. What started as a fun project for some furry friends has since become a huge hit, with both neighbors and strangers who are watching all the action on Vreeland's Facebook live stream. James Vreeland told Insider that he and his wife Amanda Simmons have always loved feeding the squirrels and birds in the area, and now he has a huge hit. It is the biggest restaurant for squirrels and birds anywhere in the United States.
I'm weak they actually have a menu.
Yes, he created a 4-course menu that includes a seed medley starter course, followed by house-cut breadsticks, peanuts on the full shell, and a dessert of counter-softened apples. The problem is for these poor animals, or they're not so poor animals, they're living it up. But if he ever stops, they're all going to, unfortunately, they're not going to know how to hunt their own food. So I hope he continues this for a while.
Oh, true.
So cute.
Because once you start feeding the animals, they don't know how to get their own food anymore. So hopefully he continues it. Meanwhile, it turns out that raccoons have a natural talent for abstract painting. Take one look at the work of raccoons Piper and Cheeto, and you'll see that they have a penchant for creating lively works. Their creative spirit is fostered thanks to the help of their humans, Mitchell and Sarah Time. They provide the creatures not only with the painting canvases, but also the space necessary to produce their tiny masterpieces. Can you imagine? The Times came up with the idea to let their raccoons paint by observing the behavior of the creatures. Sarah told Modern Met, raccoons are constantly touching things with their hands to gather sensory information. We saw our raccoons doing it, so we thought painting would be a fun activity for them. I never heard of having a raccoon as a pet. Isn't that kind of dangerous?
Don't they have like rabies?
I don't know. Meanwhile, the raccoon paintings are for sale. They are mostly sold out, and there's no telling when Piper and Cheeto are going to make more paintings. So there's a waiting list for Piper and Cheeto's paintings. Meanwhile, did you see in Georgia, a deputy sheriff learned a lesson about what happens when you don't shut your door. After serving civil papers at a home, the deputy returned to her vehicle to find a goat happily munching on a stack of paperwork in her front seat. The Douglas County Sheriff's Office posted the video on its Facebook. In the video, the deputy is heard ordering, "Get out, goat! Get out! Get out, goat! Get out!"
Oh my God.
Come on.
All in there.
Yeah. Thanks for watching. For more Bradshaw Live, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.